Very good. Thank you for waiting. Mike, as before I turn it back to you, I did hear from Byron that he's unable to come, and I texted Tricarico, but I haven't heard back from them. And I think Drew might be needing to take a leave of absence for a bit. He's got some work issues, and I didn't hear from Danielle.
Okay. Well, we are small but mighty, but we do have a program for Friday, and we'll need to validate who our readers are, and we may have to do a bit of that offline. I think for tonight, if nobody would mind, I'd like to forego other agenda items and just focus on Trans Day of Remembrance. Does anybody have any concern or objection to that? That sounds great. I wanted to, first there was an issue, Gretchen, around interpretation. Did you receive any requests for interpretation other than our kind of general inquiry? And I understood from an email that you sent me that the interpretation sort of needs to happen by request or by a participant request. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And we did receive requests for ASL, but not Spanish. So at this time we have ASL prepared, but not Spanish. But I would quickly do my best to put that into place if we got a request.
Okay. Okay, great. That sounds great. Promotions wise, we've distributed the flyers. I believe Tricarico and Byron distributed the flyers around town, a fair amount, as well as we've had Facebook distribution by various individuals. Did the city ever post it?
I was told that they did, but I didn't go back and verify that. And so I need to. I do know that it was in the Friday message. That's the email that goes out to everybody. It was included in that, as well as it's on the webpage. But I'm finding myself uncertain as you ask me, and I should have looked that up in advance. I'll try to find out and get back to everybody.
Yeah, I think also if you could share the particular post, we can all go to that post and share from that post. And I would imagine that post has the link within it for people who are viewing. As a reminder, the viewing is going to be on YouTube. So it will not be, not everybody will have their Zoom link. So we decided to do that so that we don't need additional moderation on Zoom. We can just have the small group on Zoom, and then we'll have the YouTube be the main way that the public sees the event. Are there any other comments or questions about promotions or any other things that we think that we should do? Everyone's so quiet tonight.
We did also send it out through what I call MailChimp, but all of our mailing lists would have gotten it as well.
Excellent. And we shared at the Human Rights Commission meeting. I wonder, Gretchen, if it might be worth sending like a day before reminder to the commissioners at the very least.
Happy to.
Oh, cool. Well, then I think it's the next time would be to talk about the program. We have two written works, one a little lengthier that Corey provided, and one that we, because of time, we asked Jay Lee to keep hers a little bit shorter. I kind of gave it some thought, and I looked over both pieces. And I sort of had some thoughts about run of program. Would you guys like me to just share that first, or did anyone have come in with an idea?
I might just quickly say that Byron said that although he couldn't be here tonight, he really liked both of the sets of remarks. So just to pass that on to you, but go ahead.
Yeah, I thought they were excellent. What I thought was that the longer piece by Corey seemed like it might make a really nice introduction because it's very sort of in the present moment, what's going on now, and has additional detail and educational detail for someone who's tuning in at the beginning. And I thought that Jaylee's piece seemed like a really nice closing piece because it is a little bit shorter and less detailed. So it seemed like opening perhaps with Corey's piece, running through the reading of the names, and we'll need to very quickly get our list of readers. I know that we have some readers who aren't here tonight, weren't able to be here. So we'll need to validate our list of readers and get those distributed fairly quickly, I would think. And then closing with Jaylee's piece, which I feel is very forward-looking and very inspirational and quite sweet. So that was kind of what I thought. I wondered what the rest of you thought for a run of show or run of program.
This is Corey. I would say, yeah, I definitely agree. I think Jaylee's piece has a better tone for ending the event. So I definitely support that. I think that's a good idea.
This is Alex. I would agree.
This is Jaylee, and it all sounds good to me.
All right. So I think then it seems like there maybe need to be like a kind of an opener. I'd be happy to provide like a, hey, welcome to the Transgender Day of Remembrance, and introduce the first speaker. And then perhaps, Corey, you could follow by introducing the first reader. Once we have that list of names, we could send a run of show prior to the event. And then we could have the last reader introduce Jaylee and sort of keep it, you know, less formal that way, I guess, rather than having like sort of an MC role or something. Or Corey, if you would want to just open the whole event, that would be fine as well. I wonder what you all think of that.
So I'm definitely open to opening if that is easier for everyone. Yeah, I mean, that would be totally fine with me. And I know I have some information to share about the list of names. I know we'll get to that in a second, but I like the idea of just kind of going from the piece to the name reading. I think that is a good way to pass it off.
Well, it might be a little smoother if you just opened it, Corey,
Okay.
and also fewer people on the Zoom. One thing I wondered, Gretchen, from a technical perspective is, you know, normally we kind of do these, broadcast these Brady Bunch style. Is there a technical way to focus on one speaker at a time?
Certainly, I can do, I think what's called the spotlight view. In fact, if I'm really skilled, maybe I can even remember how to do it right now so we can experience it, but it would put all of us into very tiny tiles and everybody, and the speaker in the primary spotlight, so to speak. So, spotlight video, I think, so like that. Am I now covering a lot of your screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what happens when one of you begin to speak? Let's see if it shifts like I think it will.
I can start speaking now and see if that does it.
It didn't. So let me see if I have to go in and make you a spotlight. Yeah.
Now
Okay.
yeah.
But I can do that. I can easily go in. It's just a quick little click. So whoever, like if Corey is opening us, I can go to yours, Corey, and spotlight you. And then when it switches, spotlight each person. That's easy.
Okay. Works for me. As long as you don't mind doing the work.
No, easy peasy.
Great. Great. Well, Corey, you mentioned you had some information about the list of names.
Yeah, so in our last meeting, Byron had mentioned tdor.info has provided the list of names in the past. and it has not been updated since 2019. However, I did find another website called transrespect.org, and they have, transrespect.org, and they have a list as well. So I was planning on pulling the data from that. I mean, I don't really have a way to verify it. I think that's the only thing, since we had gone with that other resource before, I think that was the only real concern I had. But it looks like the numbers match up with what I think I have seen in other places. So I think I just wanted to confirm, we're really just focused on name and place. And then at what date should I start? Would that be like October 15th of last year? Would it be November, the same date as this year, just a full calendar year? So I was hoping to get the group's input on that.
Do you recall, Gretchen, what we've done in the past?
I actually don't. I was just gonna see if I could find it in my computer notes somewhere. I know Danielle used to try to get it as current as possible and take the last 12 months. But this would be around the week that she would do it. So I would imagine as close to current as you can get, Corey.
Okay.
I only found one other site. I was snooping around too and found trans respect versus transphobia worldwide that had a list as well.
Okay.
But I'm glad you've got a list, and I'm not aware of any reason why yours wouldn't work just fine. I would think if you get it just as close to the last 12 months as you can, that would be perfect.
Yeah, and if it sounds like Danielle has used tdor.info in the past, maybe I can just look at the last name on that list and cross-reference and just see and maybe start there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
One quick note, if you don't mind, since Corey was speaking, I just tried to spotlight you, Corey, and it won't let me without a video. So I just wanted you to be aware if a person is speaking on Friday night, I won't be able to spotlight them unless their video is activated. So just FYI.
Okay, I will make sure that I'm on video on Friday, for sure.
Sounds good.
Jaylee, are you comfortable or able to be on video?
Oh yeah, I can totally do that.
Okay, great.
Did you talk at the last meeting about how to divide the names and how the baton would switch, like at what interval you'd like to trade off, and did all that get worked out at the last meeting? I wasn't positive.
At the last meeting, we had a number of people who said they would read, and then some people who said they would be willing to read if there were no other readers. I also know that outside of the meetings, there were some emails with Tricarico in particular, where there were some people who had agreed to be readers, sort of outside of that. Like I know Snarfy had agreed to be a reader. I think it depends on the number of readers. Another thing about the list that I think is important, that was something that we kind of learned last year that worked well, was the first year, or maybe it was the first year I attended, I don't know if it was the first year that it was held, each person's name and location was read. And it was a lot more streamlined last year, where we split the list by location so that we weren't reading the location each time the person would say Brazil, and then they would read all the names from Brazil, and then they would say the next location and so on. And that seemed to work better for time, and still gave you the sense of the locations of these, which is an important sense of the event. So unless anyone objects, I think we should probably split it by location that way again.
Yes, I planned on moving it into like an Excel, and then we could just sort it by location, and that would be very easy. And I think you're right, like not repeating the place name over and over, it gives more focus to the reason we're here. And it's like, honoring those whose lives have been taken. So I think that's a really good idea.
Tricarico, welcome.
Hi, sorry, I just totally spaced it. There's been a lot of meetings and struggling, but I'm here. Thank
It's
you.
okay. I was running late too, so you're not the only one.
Okay, thanks.
But now that you're here, not to put you on the spot, but I wondered, we've talked about a couple of readers that were sort of waiting in the wings, and I wondered if you'd been in contact with any of those readers. I know Snarfy was one that came to mind, but were there other readers that were going to participate?
Yeah, Rowan had reached out to me.
That's right.
So they were wanting to do it in Snarfy. I haven't heard anyone else, but last I checked, they were both on board.
And can you remind me about how many names? It's always staggering.
I don't know off the top of my head.
The list I have is 350.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think that's about what we had last time or last year, but I can't recall exactly. Gretchen, do you remember?
I don't. I should have grabbed that beforehand. I read one website that's, let's see, that generally, where is it? A slight increase this year over the past year. A gradual increase. Where is the number of a percent? I feel like I remember reading a 6% increase. And they also have 350 on their list that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think we're looking at the same list because I see the 6% as well.
Yeah.
Good that it's consistent. Definitely not good about the increase. That was not my my wording, but that's good that we have consistency on the list. And it seems like with that number, assuming we have Rowan and Snarfy on board, I think we should probably try for 4 or 5 people as readers. I was one of those, and I think Shrikariko was one to read. If needed. And I think Byron also said he was willing to read if needed. So we may need all the readers.
Corey, are you comfortable directly communicating with the readers with the list as you get it broken out? Is that something that you'd like to do and are able to do?
Yeah, that would, oh, am I on mute? No, okay. Yeah, that would be just fine. If you don't mind providing their contact information, I'll be happy to email that out. I plan on working on it a bit tonight, and I'm expecting to be done definitely by tomorrow evening.
Thank you. You all know Rowan and Snarfy. Do you think it would be okay if I share their contact information with Corey? I haven't heard back from them. I've sent stuff, but haven't heard back. So I don't feel confident that I could ask and get a verification that that's okay. And I want to be sure to meet the timeline. Do you think it's okay that I share with Corey the contact info?
Yeah, Corey knows both of them.
Good. Okay. That makes it easy then.
I'll send a message and give them a heads up that they'll be getting an email so they know to check, because I know I'm really bad at checking my email.
Same.
Thank you. Okay, good.
We'll also need the Zoom link sent out to all of the readers. So I don't know if you want to, Gretchen, coordinate that through Corey so that it's all in one email, or how you best want to do that.
Yeah, maybe I'll just send an email to all of you and the readers that contains the Zoom link and then notes that Corey will be following with the lists of names. Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Good.
That'd be great.
I had done before kind of a short run of show, like you said, Mike, going back, like that had like the hi, we're joining similar observances around the world today. We're the Human Rights Commission. Like, do you want any of that at the beginning? Or
yeah, now that I'm going to be on as a reader, because I think we need me to have enough readers. Maybe I should just open it as sort of the task force chair before handing it off to Corey. That seems like that way we can kind of mention the task force. It would be good to mention that people can report discrimination or incidences to the Human Rights Commission as well. That would be an important part of the things to mention. So I'd be happy to do that.
Sounds good.
I wonder if we want to invite our speakers to each have a candle at their home, since we normally do this by candlelight. Any candle I think would do for the speakers, but that was something we talked about during the last meeting, and that seems like it's an important part of the observance.
Agreed.
I can put that in my email then. Thank you. Is there a moment, do either of you, I apologize, I can't remember, if do you invite people at home to light something if they want to?
You know, I could put that in my introductory remarks. When you send me kind of your notes, I'll probably, add a couple fiddles here and there, what I do with writings. So I can definitely mention that each of us has a candle, or if I see that not everyone has a candle, I'll say I have a candle or something. And then each person, and invite each person to light their own candle in memory and honor of those that we've lost. Yeah. Do we have any further thoughts about the program? It does feel like it will come together rather quickly between the emails from Corey and Gretchen, and then we'll all be on an email together so we can respond. I imagine you don't need to hide everyone's email on there, Gretchen, do you? So that if people have questions, they can reply all or something.
I feel like in this case, that would be just fine. I'll just exercise a little bit of judgment. The general reason for the use of BCC as a matter of course is to just prevent the work of a public body occurring in an email format, because then the public can't access it. But I think this is a matter of logistics and preparation for an event, which we're conducting in a public way. So I feel like that would be fine. Just don't suggest any new policies, or I'll say, hey, let's talk about that at the next meeting.
No deliberations.
Right.
No deliberations.
Right.
I do have one more comment. So I'm assuming that we want to break up the list, because if we had 5 readers, 350 names, that's nearly 90. So does 20 at a time seem like, because each reader might take 20 and then the next reader, and then they would rotate again 3 or 4 times? Does that seem like an appropriate amount? Do you get what I'm saying? Or maybe 30?
I don't remember what we did last time. Does anyone remember?
That was what I remember, but
that the readers got up multiple times.
That sounds right to me.
Does Zoom change that in any way? Do you like longer readings or shorter readings because of the Zoom experience?
Oh, the shorter might be more appropriate because it's kind of exhausting to be on the Zoom, right? It's a little challenging. It's different from standing in front of a group, staring at the little keyhole of your webcam.
Yeah, and I'll practice changing. Sorry, Corey, go right ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and I don't know if it's easier or harder, because for me, I think standing in front of the group is hard.
It's true. It's true. Well, yeah, spotlighted, so it's working, Gretchen. Very good.
I just practiced practiced real quick. If your video's on, I can spotlight you. So I'll spotlight each speaker as they.
I just check to see. I'm gonna have to shave and make sure I don't get any pimples. This is prime time. Well, gosh, everybody. Do we think that we have any other issues to talk about? And I do want to say, Jay Lee, I haven't met you, but welcome to the crew. And I'm so glad that you reached out. Your piece is just fantastic.
So much. Yeah, I saw the flyer at my job and I was like, oh, I should try to get in on this because I have things to say. So I really appreciate that opportunity.
Yeah, fabulous.
Well, we would meet next. Our next meeting is scheduled for a week from this Wednesday. We would meet Wednesday, November 25th at 6 p.m. on Zoom. So for any of you that are interested in coming back, or we would do our tip, well, I'm sure we'll debrief this event as well as do our other agenda items then.
Yeah, typically at that meeting, we debrief the event. So it'd be a good opportunity if you have observations. It'll be weird for us because we'll all be participating and won't be watching as viewers. But perhaps I will say having the spotlight on is very weird. But yeah, completely, it will be very different when we, from what the audience experiences. So maybe we can invite some of our audience members who are watching to come and join to debrief. Or you could watch it on your own time if you want to rewatch parts of it, at least maybe the speaking parts, because they're so lovely. So. Well, I think that is our agenda. We decided to forego the rest of the agenda and just focus on TDOR tonight. Anything else that we should talk about before we close? All right, well, thanks everybody for being here. We will coordinate logistics via our emails, and so be sure to keep an eye out and contact Gretchen if you've got any questions in the meantime.
Thank you everybody for your time.
Thank you.